and welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth. I go by the username Be More Creative, both here on FlossTube and on Instagram. So today's FlossTube is a little bit different. It's kind of more of a FlossTube extra. I have really only stitched one thing this week, and that has been this Pride and Prejudice kit that was sent to me by Claire from Love Poppet. Now it's been the May half term here, and I've had a lovely week despite the weather being a bit off, and I set myself a challenge. I received this just before the half term, and this kit is absolutely stunning, but I didn't want it to be something where it ends up in my stash not stitched. So I set myself the challenge to get this stitched and FFO'd before the students get back. Now the students get back this evening around 5:30. It is currently 10:25. So I've got it stitched. It is absolutely stunning, but now I just have to get it FFO'd. So I have been sharing the process over on Instagram, but I am going to do the finishing video here because, you know, I like to do my finishing videos in real time and show you how long it actually takes me to FFO these items. So before I go on to this, this is the Pride and Prejudice kit by Love Poppet. It's in collaboration with the Jane Austen Centre. You can get this as a full kit, which comes with the pattern in both black and white, so with symbols, or colour version. You can get it on either a 16 count or, like I've got here, a 32 count, and it's a Swigart ivory cream. And then you get all the threads, which are pre-sorted for you, and I love her way of doing these because you've got the symbol right on the floss, so it's all ready to go, and the numbers are written down as well. So I have only finished one colour, 3752, but everything else I still have some left. So there is plenty of thread in the kit. The 3752, I did have a strand of it left, but I ended up pinching it for another project. So you get plenty of threads. So let's jump straight in to the finishing video. So I showed on, oh, sorry, I've just noticed my camera is on my stitched piece. Let me just pull that out. So I've got my fully stitched piece. I have ironed this. There is still a few little creases, but I think that will pull out. I am going to be finishing this on a Sostring Grail. I don't know how, Sostring Green. I don't know how you say the name of that shop. But I purchased everything from there. So I am going to finish it on this gorgeous wooden board that I picked up from there. Absolutely love this board. I think it's going to be stunning, and I am going to be magneting my piece onto this because I'd like to use this board for other things. So I also picked up their magnets. They do them 3 sets of 10, so you get 30 magnets for £2.54. I thought that was quite a good price, and I do love buying everything all together. I've got these gorgeous hearts which are made out of vine, and they've got vines wrapping around them. I just thought that went with the theme, and they came in a pack of 4. I probably won't use all of them. And then I got these paper cutouts which come in 3 different colours. I just thought these were lovely, and I'm going to use this gorgeous green colour, but I'm actually going to be gluing these down to the board. So that's what I am going to start with. Let me just move everything else out the way. And the way I'm going to do this is very, very simple. I am just going to glue them down using like a Pritt stick, PVA. It will hold it well enough. These aren't going to be, oops, would help if I didn't break them straight away. So I'm just going to add my glue. I know you know how to glue. I'm just trying to fill in the silence, and I'm just going to stick them down. And what I'm going to do is, while I am working on my other pieces, I'm going to have this board upside down, so the weight of the board will just help. Oops. Wow, I didn't realize how fiddly these were going to be. Broke that one in the middle, but I think I can save it. And you're only going to see a little bit of this hang out the edge, but I just thought these were so cute. And the other design that I plan to use this board for, you're going to see a little bit more of this edge to it. I don't even know if I'm on in frame. The problem with how I film these, I need to find a way, because my phone is actually upside down, so I can't even see the screen. So I have absolutely no idea where to actually place myself. Right, and I think for this one, I want it to go the right way. I think I'm just going to put it like that at an angle. And these are paper, so I'm not sure how long they will last, but I think my finishes are not something that get touched a whole lot. There are certain ones, like when I did my birthday board, that one gets touched all the time. We change the name on that all the time. So that one, like, I wouldn't be putting things that are a bit more fragile on it, but everything else, it goes up on the board, or it gets displayed, and then I just don't touch it again very much. So that is how we are looking with this board so far. I do love the little textural element. That one might need to be glued down. So I cannot find my sticky board. I have one little scrap left, and I really wanted to get this video done today. I wanted to complete this challenge, so I'm actually using a piece of cardboard. I really do not know where the rest of my sticky board has gone, but I've cut these out to the sizes that I want. So you can see, you're going to see a little bit of the edge. I think I need to turn that around this way. So I think you'll be able to see a little bit of this. I can't even see if this is recording. Oh well, bloopers included. So that is how we're looking so far. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to put this down. Sorry, table might shake, but I'm going to put that down, facing down, so the board weight is going to help glue those pieces on. And I'm going to move on to the next part. So normally I wouldn't be using cardboard. This is just a thick cardboard box that I had in the recycling, but realistically it's what I have. I don't have more sticky board. I've looked everywhere. I know I have a packet somewhere, but there are just so many places here that I've put stuff. I just cannot for the life of me find it. So that will be another day's mission, and I'm just going to carry on as I am. So the cardboard is going to have a fabric piece on it, so I'm not so worried about, like, is it safe to use with my cross stitch? It's not going to be touching the cross stitch. I have got one piece of sticky board here, which is what I'm going to use for the cross stitch. So as always, I have got a piece of batting that I'm going to put on the front of my sticky board, and then this way I am all ready to go. I do love using batting. Someone asked me, what does it really do? I just find it smooths out the piece a little bit. It also means that if I've got a knot in the back of my piece, which I do because I do knot my threads, it just doesn't make it bump out too much, that knot will disappear into the batting. So I'm going to take my cross stitch piece and I am going to line that up as best as I can. Let's just have a quick look at that. So this piece doesn't have straight lines that you need to worry about, but you do need to watch these leaves. So the leaves you'll see here, they finish without a border, so you need to make sure that that is up against the edge of your piece. The same with the bottom here, you'll see there is a straight line. Even though a straight line is not stitched around it, everything finishes on the same line, so you want to make sure you've got that tucked in at the bottom. And I think we are good to go where we are. So I'm going to place that back down, holding a little bit of pressure. Now, there's not too much to trim on this, but I am going to trim a little bit of this cross stitch off. But you'll see I've got one hand pushing my cross stitch down. And that is because I do not want this to move. Now, you could try pinning it in place, but then you've got to unpin it to cut off this excess fabric. So I just keep my hand in place, I'm not moving. There we go. And then I'm just going to do this one very carefully down here. Now, I tend to lace my pieces, but someone asked me if I can show them how I hot glue my cross stitch. So I'm going to do that on this one, but generally when it comes to stitching, I generally tend to lace my actual stitched piece. I hot glue the fabric, but I'm going to show you this one because that is what has been asked for. So I'm just going to make sure I'm still in place for everything, which I am. I'm going to flip it back over. So the way I glue my cross stitch is exactly the same as what I do with my fabric. I personally prefer to start with the corners. So I'm going to put a dab of hot glue. And my hot glue is not a fancy hot glue. I am just using a Hobbycraft own one. These go on sale in the Black Friday sale or in their summer sales for £2.50. The glue is currently on offer, 2 of their bigger boxes. I get the hot melt glue. 2 of their bigger boxes for £10. So I picked up some more of that today because my hot glue gun is my best friend. I use it for everything. So I'm just gluing around all of my sides, and what I do is as I pull it in, I pull it nice and tight to make sure I've got that corner edge. Then we need to go on to the other areas. So I'm going to start with my short edges. And I'm just going to pull that up, and I'm just going to flip it over and make sure you can see my stems have reached the edge quite nicely there. I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to do the same. We're going to pull it up. And I'm going to keep one thumb holding pressure while I move the other hand to push up the fabric. And when I turn it round, I've still got a little bit of leeway, but there we go. So I've got 2 edges that are glued down and stuck in place. So you'll see with my sides, there's a little bit of pull that I need to do when I'm pulling them in, okay? So we're going to do the same thing, and I do apologise if you can hear the wind. I've got both my windows open. I'm sat right in front of the windows, and it's just started getting windy. So as I glue these, I'm pulling up the fabric. Don't worry about this bulging area here, because we will sort that out when we get to that part. We're really focusing on that soft line at the moment, and you'll see I'm not putting a ton of glue down, and that is because I might want to take this off. I might want to change the finish, and if you put a ton of glue down at the start, you're going to find it more difficult to pull it off. You see here, I'm not as close to that edge as I'd like, so I'm just going to pull that up. And you can see I've still got some time to pull that piece across. So now my edges are in line with where I want them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit more glue to that area and just smooth that out. Now I'm going to focus on these corners, because where I focused on getting my lines straight, my corners have come loose, and that is perfectly normal. That is what is meant to happen. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the first edge of the corner, put a little bit of glue, and then I'm just going to bring the other corner up, and I'm just going to fold it like you would a present. Now my hot glue gun does not get too hot, so my fingers touching this are not burning. But if you are using a hot glue gun that gets incredibly hot, or if you're not used to the heat of a hot glue gun, because I think part of it is that I'm very used to doing this, please do use a finger protection or something so you don't burn your fingers. But I'm just going to go around, and I'm going to do that to all of my corners. And this excess fabric that you see hanging off, I will glue that down, but I want to make sure that my piece is exactly where I want it. So I want it to be exactly in the right spot before I glue down the excess, because I might need to pull up my fabric to straighten out an edge. And there we go. I'm quite happy with my corners. So now I'm going to go back in, and I'm just going to put a dab of glue and just glue these extra parts down. Now if I had something that was too big, I would trim it off, because you don't want a lot of excess bulk. But I'm going to leave the fabric that I have here down, because if I wanted to change the way I finished this piece, I've got enough fabric here to be able to cut off the parts where the glue's touched and use the actual stitching part. So that is layer number 1, and you just need to wipe off any excess. I've got hot glue all over my fingers again, but there we go. So part number 1's done. I'm now going to grab my second board, and I'm going to do exactly the same process but with my fabric. So I'm just going to trim down a piece of this fabric. This, I don't even know what fabric this is. I just have this in my embroidery stash. And we're going to do exactly the same process that we've just done. So we're going to apply some hot glue to our corners. And this fabric I have not ironed. It has got wrinkles in it, but I actually like the texture on this one. Now, because I'm using a piece of cardboard, I don't want to pull this too tight. because otherwise I'm going to find that my cardboard just bends up. Now I've got the police siren. And as I did before, I'm going to start with my shorter edges. And then I'm going to go on and work on my longer edges. Making sure that I pull up, as I did with the cross stitch. I'm going to put my fingers in the middle, pull up, and then smooth the fabric out so it pulls those wrinkles out. Okay, so now I'm just going to go in and sort my corners out just like I did on my last one. Now this one is going to be a bit more tricky. If you are using sticky board, you shouldn't have as many issues as this one. The problem I've got with this one is my corners are going to bend because it's just a thin piece of cardboard. So I might end up with slightly rounded corners, but that's not the end of the world in this project. Sorry, I've got so much hot glue stuck to my fingers, I can't actually bend the fabric round. Okay, and then same thing, I'm just going to go round and glue down the excess. And I want to make sure I really glue this one down well, because this is going to have the fabric, the magnets onto the back of this. So I want to make sure that they're not going to get caught on anything. So, I can now tell how uneven I cut this. This was really difficult to cut. So I've got my one board, and then I'm going to glue this on. Luckily you're not going to see how uneven this is. Get rid of all this glue. Sorry, you are seeing this in real kind of time. I don't speed these videos up, so trying to get rid of the hot glue is still part of it, and it's still stuck to me. So what I'm going to do is just apply a very generous amount of glue. Get rid of that stuff. And I do want to work somewhat quickly because this does dry out. And my glue gun is not being cooperative, which it never is when it needs to be. Right, and then I'm going to place that down as centered as I can. And then I'm just going to apply more glue to the areas that need it, just to help secure that in place. And then I'm just going to place it on the table and press down. So I've now got my glue attached. Let's bring my board back in. I am going to get rid of this price tag. And you can see it's going to go on there. So you're going to see a little bit of the greenery, not a lot of it. But let's grab these magnets. And I don't know how many magnets I'm actually going to need. I don't know if I'm going to need... I might just do 3 sets, and then that way I've got enough of those to put put on another one if I want to. So I'm going to keep these magnets attached to each other because that way I know they're in the right order. And the way I'm going to glue these on is actually I have some Gorilla Super Glue gel. Now this gel is terrible to get out of this bottle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the back of this like kids glue pourer, and I'm just going to place down my magnets using this. Let's grab some more. And I'm just being careful at the moment just to get it on the one side, because I don't want to accidentally super glue my magnets together. And then all I'm going to do is just add some gel to the other side of the magnet. Ooh, that's not good. Don't get it on there. And then I'm just going to turn this over and I'm going to place it where I want it on the board. And I will leave that part to dry. And then I will be able, when the magnets are completely dry, they will just pull apart because I didn't actually get it on the magnet. So I'm going to focus on the top here, and I'm simply just going to finish it by gluing this piece onto the top. I don't think this piece needs anything else other than really pretty heart at the top. And there we go. That is my finished board. So this piece is magneted on. So this will come off. I don't know if I can pull it off now. There we go. So I will leave this longer for these to actually fully dry, but I've got my 3 magnets on the board. I've got my paper cutouts which are on the board. Now I'm going to see how they hold up. I may have to apply glue over the top, but I think they'll be fine because I don't touch my pieces very often. But now I can use this board for other pieces because I can simply just add on some more magnets. And then this piece, if I'm not using it for display, it can be stored. Now, if I was doing a lot of magneted pieces, I would not put magnets on my cross stitch. I would put it on the actual, I'd put like a washer on and just have the magnets on the actual board. However, I don't really see myself doing a whole lot of pieces like this at the moment. So this is working for me, and obviously I would use sticky board rather than a cross stitch, and then rather than the cardboard, and then that will just stick straight back into place, and we have a very simple finish. So I hope you enjoyed this finish with me. It is very, very simple, very easy to finish, and this whole thing cost less than £17. It was £17 for all of the pieces, but I still have a lot of magnets. I still have 3 more of these hearts, and I still have some more paper cutouts, and this board will serve me for multiple finishes because I can just do a new cross stitch and put it on. So there we go. That is my finish for today. Thank you so much to Claire from Love Poppet for this gorgeous kit that she sent through. You can get this kit and this pattern as a kit, PDF and printed chart. I'm not sure if the PDF is out yet, but it should be out very soon. I will have the links down below. But there we go. That is my finish. Now, we're currently 10:52. It's taken me about half an hour. Now, if you were doing this, what I would suggest is I tend to do a finish line of finishes. So I actually tend to, unless I'm doing it for these kind of videos, we'll have multiple pieces in like a conveyor belt chain type thing. So I will do all of my lacing, and I would normally lace, but you can hot glue. As I've shown you in this video, it works really well. And then this is just going to go up on display, and I've got a gorgeous finish that I can take this off, and I can use this all year round. These colorways would work really well. I could do a Valentine's Day design with it. I could put a winter piece up. And this is a really good way, if you don't have a lot of space, have a board that you can interchange your cross stitch on, because you can have this, find a home for the board, and then you can have as many designs as you want magneted on. Right, I'm gonna head off because I've got to go and get this video uploaded and get ready for work, and I will see you all very soon. Happy stitching. Bye guys.